Khulisa UK is the independent UK arm of a successful South African crime prevention and community development charity. And here in the UK, we have been implementing a behaviour change and offender rehabilitation program for the last 2.5 years, running it both in prisons, schools and communities. The main program we've been running here and testing and adapting to UK audiences is a program called Silence the Violence, or its youth version, which we call Face It. And it's basically a motivational behaviour change program that uses a lot of therapeutic techniques to engage with and inspire the participants to look at their behaviour, understand violence and the theory of violence that we use, to understand triggers of aggression and conflict, and then look at ways that they can move through that, as it were, into kind of more pro-social or looking at changing their behaviours in the future, so that if they're in a prison that they may not reoffend, or if it's young children in schools and communities, about understanding kind of violence and conflict, being able to better manage those situations and hopefully kind of divert them out of potential gang activity or criminal activity. The program is based around 10 core sessions, which are about 2 to 3 hours in length each. We normally run the program either a very intensive 5 days period, so in a sense full-time, from 9 to 5 days of the week, or we might run it 2 to 3 days a week over a couple of weeks, which is normally how we run it in the prisons, because it's hard to run something 5 days in a row. And in schools and communities, we try and run it the 5 days straight, because it's sort of the most intensive way and the kind of most direct way of accessing the program and the content. We ran a school program, a couple of school programs in Newham in East London, and one of the quotes I love is an 11-year-old who said, "I'd rather do this program than play my computer games," which I thought for an 11-year-old is probably the best endorsement you can get. But we have had feedback from some of those kids, basically, that it has helped them, steer clear of violent situations, times when they had kind of almost felt themselves triggered, like anger in them triggered, whether it's from a sibling or someone in the community, and being able to negotiate those situations, reflect on the learning, and therefore not engage in hitting them or lashing out in some way. Similarly, we've run some prison-based programs or working with ex-offenders, and a good quote actually from one of our ex-offender participants was along the lines of, "I spent 18 years of my life in and out of jail. I've done an awful lot of intervention programs when I was on the inside, and this is, hand on heart, the most effective one I've ever done." What we're hoping for, and what our kind of goals, our aims and objectives, is to sort of really robustly prove and evidence that this program that we've brought over from South Africa, that's been very successful there, and have adapted it to the UK. So we want to prove that it works and prove that it's effective and cost effective. And then our hopes is really that whether it's prisons, whether it's schools, whether it's local authorities, as it were, buy, commission, or at least want the program offer as part of what they do to support young people staying out of gangs, to support offenders to rehabilitate, or just to kind of improve elements of antisocial behaviour and violent crime in their communities.